Up next is creating the events in your product file. These events show up in the Events section of WinScript Live when specifying which action you want the device to perform. In this tutorial, we're going to add a projector on event, a projector off event, and an event to grab information about the lifetime the projector's lamp has been on. Let's start by making a projector on event. Click the plus icon to create a new event. We'll call this new event on. Type that into the name box. The variation text box is there if multiple iterations of the same event need to be made. Most of the time, this is not necessary, so for our example, let's leave it blank. The description box is what the user will see as they step through the event wizard in WinScript. It's a good idea to always give a description, especially if the event name might not be intuitive. For the on event, we're just going to write turns on the projector in the description box. Simple, I know, but it's a good habit to practice. The next few boxes determine what happens if a message is sent out, but the controller does not receive any information back, or receives back incorrect data. Retry. How many times the product file will attempt to send the sent message's data packets after a first failed attempt. For our example, we'll change retry to 1 time. This means that if the show controller doesn't receive back a response from the projector after the first message is sent, it will wait a specified number of frames and then resend the message. One reason a message could fail is because of networking issues. Timeout. How long the product file should wait in between retry attempts. We'll keep this at the default 30 frames. Poll rate. If you're making a command that's designed to poll the value of some device variable, there's an Add Polling Sequence option in WinScript's Device Variables view that will automatically generate a new sequence that executes the command at the specified rate. This topic will be covered more in depth in a later lesson. For our example, don't touch this. Next up are the following checkboxes that determine what type of event you are making. Incoming message. Most devices respond in some way when you send them an outgoing message, letting you know that the message was received, for example. By checking this box, we can then go in and edit what we expect the incoming message to be, so we can make use and interpret this data. By having this box unchecked, you're letting the product file know not to look for any data to be sent back to the controller after your message is sent. At that point, it's just one-way communication from your show controller to your external product. Unsolicited. Sometimes we need to interpret data that's sent to the show controller without the show controller initiating the conversation. This is where incoming unsolicited messages come into play. By checking the unsolicited box, the sent message box disappears. That event will then be run every time unsolicited incoming data matches the regular expression you have written for the event. Hidden. Usually used in conjunction with the unsolicited checkbox, hidden hides the event from users in WinScript Live. The hidden event you create will not show up in the drop-down menu when working with this specific product in your script. Especially if an event is unsolicited, there would never be a reason you'd want to call the event in a WinScript Live sequence. Thus, this is a good idea to use for unsolicited events. Send response. Also useful with unsolicited messages, the send response command tells the controller to send out a different event's outgoing message after receiving this event's incoming message. For example, if we received message A from the external device, respond to it with message B from our product file's events. For our projector on example event, all we need checked is the incoming message checkbox, which is checked by default. Located at the bottom of the Information Parameter tab is the Data Parameters box. Here's where you'll enter event parameters that then can be used in the Outgoing Message tab, which we will cover next. These parameters show up in WinScript Live as you are entering an event into a sequence. You can think of this as a type of variable you are asking the WinScript user to fill, so your outgoing message can be somewhat customized. We'll cover an example of this further on in the course. For our projector on command, we don't have any data parameters to enter.